Hello, friends, and welcome back. Apologies for the delay, but as promised, we are going to watch a game between two of the best genetic algorithm AIs. What you're going to see in this game is that the AI has now learned to age up to feudal and execute what can generously be called a scout rush. Very cool that we were able to get the progress to the feudal age. We haven't actually been able to implement any kind of reward system for aging up itself. So this happened only because of the benefits that aging up to feudal gives, which is I think it's a pretty rare mutation because you have to simultaneously age up to the feudal age and learn the ability to do things like train scouts that will give you an advantage for aging up as opposed to the harm that it causes to be stuck in uh, as opposed to the harm that it causes to not be able to train villagers or lose the 500 food. So with all that said, we can go ahead and just watch this. We'll make all visible and let's go. Speed things up a bit. So the AI hasn't figured out actually it learned and unlearned building lumber camps here. And so you'll notice that it does a lot of these long-range mining operations or long-range wood chopping operations, which are not ideal. But interestingly, this AI is performing so well right now that after 2 nights of running direct versus matches, so the current AI competing against a mutation of itself, this AI has yet to be defeated. And that's probably about 500 rounds that have taken place over the last 2 nights that I ran this. This current improvement, and we can make this no fog of war and go over to red here. These improvements are largely thanks to a new training style we implemented, where we basically simulate a round-robin tournament between the parent and a number of mutations. So a series of 1v1s, and the individual that wins the most 1v1s moves forward, mutates, and has the future children. So that system, for whatever reason, got past some of the bottlenecks that the free-for-all system had created. Anyway, we'll see that the first scout here coming in, that's the original scout from red to attack. That kind of indicates the more aggressive AIs at the heart of both of these. These are the same individual, as I said, the best versus itself. The boar luring that was developed in some of the earlier Dark Age AIs is out, which is a shame. But again, it's all about, maximum scores. And so it forgot that, but learned the ability to execute the scout rush. So you'll see there's a drush coming in here, if you can generously call it that, and red has now aged up to the feudal age. Blue will be a little bit behind. I didn't actually watch the portion of the game where blue was able to level up. At this point, I thought it was going to be a clear win for red, who is now continuously producing scouts. Not smart enough to mass them and send them as a group, so just trickling them into the town center, but doing a little bit of damage, and over enough time, they would take down this town center and win. Decent-sized groups here. Also not targeting villagers yet, so that's a possible improvement we could see, though it's not clear exactly when that would come in. So we'll see that they continuously produce scouts, but actually at some point here, and I don't know when it's going to happen, blue is going to be able to age up to the feudal age once it creates this barracks. That's the second building it creates in the Dark Age. Immediately begins aging up, and once it does, it's going to start producing continuously out of this barracks, and as you'll see here, not upgrading to men-at-arms, unfortunately, and then eventually start producing stables here, which it will continuously produce out of. And so you'll see, I suspect it'll happen as this blue AI starts to mass scouts in defense, that the tides actually turn here, and blue is able to send a force back at red, which will eventually win out. Another interesting thing to note is that these hyper-aggressive AIs are actually selected against by the free-for-all training format, in which there are 8 players on one map, and I choose the one who performs the best at the end of it all to be the next parent. Actually, the 2, but that aside. Because in those maps, it's better to invest your resources into defending your local economy than it is to send them out against one of the 8 players. And so odds are that if you do that, one of the other 8 players will be able to attack your undefended TC. You might guarantee that one of the other players gets last place, but you won't get first place. And so these aggressive AIs, I think, are a direct result of a 1v1 training format, the round robin I'm using. and are in fact selected against by free-for-all, which if you're into AI research, it's kind of an interesting social behavior that it's learning, that it's better to be defensive than offensive. But you'll see we've taken down the TC there now, and this game is about to end. It would be interesting at some point to see how these AIs perform against like the easiest, for example, Age 2 AI, or better yet, Barbarian eventually. But right now, the aging is so slow, and this scout mass takes so long to get to, and frankly is kind of poorly executed in its targeting, that I don't think there's there would be any benefit to training against Barbarian or anything like that in the near future. I believe I end the game at some point here, because I'm not going to wait for them to defeat all of this. So I hope you found this interesting. I am, for one, thrilled that this AI has learned to age up to feudal age. I wasn't sure I'd ever see it, and even more thrilled that it's executing the scout rush, which makes sense for its build of having a lot of extra food, as you'll see. Next incremental improvements we would hope to see would be usage of resource drop-off buildings, possibly researching of some techs or creating some spearmen to defend from another scout AI, or better yet, some complex behaviors that allow them to age up to the castle age and execute something like a night rush, which would obviously be better than the scout rush. Right here we have who knows how many scouts. So yeah, that's the current best AI we have. Its behavior was pretty interesting to me, and hopefully I'll have another update for you soon. Have a good one.